Oh boy, man. We've had our fair share of conversations about the Edmonton Oilers' goaltending situation this year. We've made videos about the Stuart Skinners of the world, and the main guy, the guy that's supposed to be the number one. From Toronto to Edmonton last season to this year, let's talk today once more about Jack Campbell, because yesterday he had himself a pretty... Okay, do I want to say it was a bad game? I mean, he had the win at the end, but... I don't know, it was kind of carried by Darnell Nurse and Matthias Ekholm. Those guys have been pretty alright recently, and... Okay, let's just go over to box score, see what happened for the Oilers last night against the San Jose Sharks, and how Jack Campbell ended up performing. Long story short, it is a 5-4 overtime win for the Oilers. Campbell had a 3.71 goals against. It's averaged out a little bit weirdly because he played 64 minutes. He had 32 shots against and he made 28 saves for an 8.75 save percentage. Now, the thing is, even though Jack Campbell had a pretty... Okay, an 8.75 is not a great save percentage, but then again, it was a 5-4 overtime win. The Sharks scored themselves 3 goals that were disallowed. So really, if you want to look at the goals, or not the goals, but the pucks that Jack Campbell let in last night, he let in, what is that, 7 pucks on, let's just say, 35 shots against. Now, if you do the math on that, 28 divided by 35, that save percentage is much lower. That's a 0.8 flat. And when it comes to the way Campbell has been performing this season in general, you've got a whole bunch of people talking about the record, everybody's talking about the season he's been having, and everybody's been talking about the vibes too. He's got 32 games played this year for the Oilers, an 8.82 save percentage, and a 3.57 goals against, yet he's 17-9-4. He has a positive record this season, despite posting up the worst set of numbers he's ever had at the National Hockey League level, including the limited stints he has had when he was a very young hockey player. Okay, no. There was one game he played in 2013-14, that was a decade ago, and he had 6 goals against there, but aside from that, Jack Campbell has never had this bad of a season before. Now you have tweets going out there being made, like this one by Tyson Munro. This one popped up on my Twitter feed. It got a lot of traction. As a goalie, Jack Campbell's technique and mechanics genuinely horrify me. Almost none of his game resembles anything taught this century. His weight is always on the inside leg on the butterfly, and it pulls him off pucks constantly. It's so easy to see why he struggles. I had some questions about whether or not Jack Campbell could be fixed. Truthfully, I'm not sure. I know where I would start, though. I've made numerous comments over the season about Campbell's feet never being set. To me, this is a bigger concern than questions about puck tracking. The reason I say that is because part of the science of head trajectory is about reducing your visual noise. When your feet are set, your environment isn't in motion, therefore it's less for your brain to process. When your feet are in motion, your visual environment is full of noise, which makes it harder for the eye and brain to track the puck. As the feet are in motion, your depth changes, meaning the puck is changing depth by coming towards you. Your environmental depth is also changing. Again, this makes it more difficult to track a puck. Before we continue with this thread, I have noticed that when it comes to a lot of these goals that Jack Campbell is letting up, how many long shots from the point, screened or not screened, do you see this guy give up every single night? It's a pretty consistent pattern, and I don't know, it's one that we didn't really see too much out of Campbell and the Maple Leafs. Now, sure, Maple Leafs defense versus the Oilers defense, the Maple Leafs have quite the significant edge there, and that definitely plays a part into that conversation, but overall, Jack Campbell has a lot of things to work on. Furthermore, Tyson says, when the feet aren't set, you can't shift down and into pucks. You'll notice that Jack Campbell has a habit of his save leg often popping up and off the ice. This is 80s, 90s pre-butterfly technique. This is due to the feet not being set, which forces the weight to shift back onto the inside leg rather than the outside leg. Goalies are now taught to set their feet and shift their weight and upper body down and into the puck rather than back and away. This increases rebound control, which Jack Campbell struggles with. His struggles are because by pulling your weight back onto the inside leg, the outside leg save kicks the puck back into the slot rather than controlling down into the corner. There are other problems in his game, but the rebuild of Jack Campbell starts with his feet. And that is a very intriguing thread here. I'm not going to go out there and say that, like, this is the be-all and end-all, but Tyson brings up some really good points. If you watch some of the tape of Jack Campbell from this season, you'll notice a lot of that rebound control, not really being there, pucks popping out into the slot, how his feet are always moving, he's never set, and as a result, you get a whole bunch of pucks that fly by this guy that he doesn't even really see until it's too late. You also had yourselves memes made like this. Oily Gifts tweeted out the Nail Yakupov thing. Jack Campbell has made 3 saves in a row. Yeah, let's celebrate that, baby. And a lot of people like this, and it popped up on my timeline as well. It's a very unfortunate meme here. Joshua made a tweet that also popped up on my timeline here too. Jack Campbell had an 8.82 on the year going into the game. He made it worse with an 8.75 and still won? How is this man 18-9-4? You just gotta hope that this guy's able to bounce back properly over the next few years. He's 31 years old, he's signed till 2027, so he's gonna be... Oh boy, it's not easy to do this anymore. We're not in 2020, you can't just add the amount of years at the end of the decimal. 2027 is 4 years from now, he's gonna be 35, and he's making $5 million a year as a 6'3", 207 goaltender with a modified no-trade clause too. He's got to bounce back, dude. You can't be paying $5 million a year to a guy who's going to be giving you sub 890 save percentage for the majority of the season. Like, I don't know, man. Stuart Skinner's looking pretty good right now. And I know there have been a lot of conversations about Campbell and his mental, because that was always one of the bigger issues that was talked about in Toronto, how Campbell would be extraordinarily hard on himself, and how that pattern doesn't seem to have gone away for this season. But at the end of the day, dude, like, he's making a lot of money, and the performance he has on the ice hasn't justified that. So whether or not the Oilers decide to go with a Jack Campbell or a Stuart Skinner situation, a 1A, 1B situation sometime down the line, whether or not that involves maybe asking Skinner to waive his no-trade in some respect, or trading him away to a team that's not on his no-trade list, who really knows? But for right now, with the Oilers and what they're trying to build, sure, they've got the forward star power to make it far in the playoffs. We know McDavid and Draisaitl are phenomenal. Nugent Hopkins has had a great season. Evander Kane is back. Zach Hyman is on pace for 100 points. Like, there's a lot of good with the top of the Oilers roster. Sure, their depth is kind of lacking, but they ended up doing some pretty good things at this trade deadline by improving their defensive core as well as just expanding on that team. So all you really need now, aside from the depth, is the goaltending. And the goaltending with Jack Campbell, unfortunately, has not been it so far this season. And I know I'm saying so far this season like it's not March, but either way, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Jack Campbell. And firstly, the game yesterday against the San Jose Sharks, 7 goals against, 3 of them called back due to coaches' challenges, how he's played so far, as well as that Twitter thread that we had read about how he doesn't set his feet, how when he's in the butterfly, his weight is on the inside of his back leg rather than leaning forward, which causes a lot of rebounds. Very introspective stuff done with the physical nature of how Jack Campbell goaltends. Is a very interesting thread, so big shout out over to the guy that posted it, Tyson. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.